Stan, I love you. I've wanted to tell you for so long, he said, nuzzling his face into Stan's neck. He smiled as he felt a pair of warm hands wrap around him. Then he heard the magic words whispered in his ear. I love you too. Kenny McCormick sat up, rubbing his eyes tiredly. God damn it, it was just a dream, he thought. Really, it shouldn't have surprised him. Lately, he'd been having the same dream more and more. Kenny, your breakfast is ready. Yes, Mom, I'll be right there. With a groan, he swung his legs over the edge of the decrepit mattress, walking to his closet and pulling out his usual orange pants and parka. Kenny paused. No, not today. Today will be the day I make Stan notice me. Throwing the orange pants and parka into the closet, he pulled out a pair of tight-fitting skinny jeans and a white t-shirt that hugged his abs. He smirked. He would bet the little bit of money he had no one would even know he had abs. He ran to his older brother Kevin's room, being careful not to slip and fall, killing himself once again. He really wasn't in the mood to die today. Kevin, I need to borrow your comb and hair gel, okay? Kevin muttered something along the lines of, okay, but I want it back, dipshit. Kenny went back to his room and carefully combed and styled his long blonde hair, something he rarely ever did. Walking into the kitchen, he picked his waffle up off the table. Thanks, Mom. Carol McCormick gave her son an incredulous stare. She hadn't seen him wear anything other than his parka in years. She stood on her tiptoes and kissed his forehead. Have a good day at school, Kenny. I will, he hollered back as he shoved the parka in his bag and walked out the door. Lazily, he trudged through the snow until he reached his bus stop where his friends were waiting. He took his spot beside Kyle. Hey, who the hell are you? Kyle stopped mid-sentence as he took a look. Kenny? Stan just stared, mouth agape. Dude, you look hot, Kyle finished. Kenny just smirked as Kyle started poking his stomach. Since when do you have abs? Since we were about 12, he replied, still smirking. He desperately tried to hold in a laugh at his openly bisexual friend Kyle poked his stomach again, then his chest, then his cheek, and nose. Kyle shot him a suspicious glance. Who are you, and what have you done with Kenny? Laughing, Kenny turned and threw an arm around Kyle's neck. Who wants to know? Kyle blushed, bright red. Kenny rubbed his nose against Kyle's. Hey, Kai, he whispered, leaning in closely, so his lips were almost against his friend's. Yeah, Ken? You're blushing. Stan's jaw dropped open again as he watched the exchange between his two best friends. Dude, he managed to sputter out. Kenny winked at him and lazily took his arm from around Kyle, walking over to Stan and leaning in close so their lips almost met. He dropped his voice to a soft, sexy murmur. Oh, sorry, Stanley, I didn't mean to leave you out. Kenny? Stan stared up at him in confusion. Kenny smiled and kissed Stan's forehead. All you have to do is ask. There's plenty of me to share. He winked again as Stan turned bright red. Kenny, you're a fucking fag. That put out. Kenny turned his head to look at Cartman, who had just reached the bus stop. Hey, fat ass, he said nonchalantly. Hey, don't call me fat, you poor butt fucker. Kenny sighed over dramatically. Fine, if you're that jealous. He walked up to Cartman and licked his cheek, laughing delightedly at when the overweight boy flipped out, coughing and sputtering, wiping his cheek violently. Ooh, Kenny, he screamed. Kyle stared at Kenny. Something was up. Sure, Kenny was a pervert every day, but today, it was somehow different. Kenny was being over the top. Kenny, can I talk to you for a second? Sure. Kenny walked over to Kyle, who led him behind some trees where Cartman and Stan couldn't hear. Kenny, you're acting weird. What's up? Kenny feigned dumb. I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about, Kyle. He glanced back towards where Stan was. Kyle looked at him for a moment and then looked backwards where Stan and Cartman were. Then it hit him. You like him. You like Stan, don't you? Kenny sighed nervously and looked at the ground. No sense in lying about it. Yes.
I say love.